Today I'd like to show you guys my fully automatic sugarcane farm harvester. Now let's start by showing you how this works. First thing we do is stand here and do nothing. As you can see, a fully automatic system requires no input or interaction from the player and will continually both grow and harvest and store sugarcane. The only thing the player has to do is find a use for all that sugarcane. Now that we've seen it work, let's show you a bit of why it works and how to make it work well. To demonstrate this automation process, I have here a single module of an automatic sugarcane farm. And this whole thing is hinged around this T flip-flop bud switch on the back. And what this does is when a block moves into this empty space right here, it activates a circuit. And in this case, the block that moves into there is sugarcane growing. So when this sugarcane grows up to here, it's going to activate this circuit, which then pushes these pistons and harvests all the sugarcane. And it needs to be a T flip-flop bud switch because it has to have a 2 different setting mode, which I'll show you right here. So let's harvest it. This grows like this. Boom. You see how there's 2 different block updates. One, the sugarcane growing into this space, and another update of it being removed. So we need it to be T flip-flop because a regular bud switch would activate, push. This push would activate it again and just keep it pushing and activating, had this horrible clock cycle. But this process works really great because as you can see, it's already set up and ready to harvest more wheat as soon as that back activating sugarcane grows. Like so. And then all gets just moved down here through water flows and then drops into hoppers, which drops into this chest. There are 2 designs I use in my sugarcane harvesters to vastly improve their efficiencies. The first is using a non-transparent block to harvest the sugarcane. The second one is the use of water flow to maximize item pickup and drag. The first one, using a non-transparent block, I'll show you right now. So as you can see, this side, all the sugarcane is being pushed off by actual blocks connected to sticky pistons. While over here I have just regular pistons pushing the sugarcane. Now pistons, when they're extended, are considered transparent blocks, so light can see through them and items can drop through them when being pushed by pistons. So that can cause problems, as sometimes sugarcane harvested through these pistons will drop straight down and then not move because they didn't hit the waterway. And that's actually quite a bit. So over here, this is exactly 2 blocks wider to accommodate for these extra non-transparent blocks, as well as requiring sticky pistons. But I will just show you how vastly improved this system is. So you can see there's no sugarcane, either of these. And I only have 1 sugarcane in my inventory. So let's show you this one first. We have sugarcane just got pushed and harvested. As you can see, most of the sugarcane is either in the middle or still being pushed along because it's close enough to the water. That's falling down into here. We got 32, which is exactly the number of sugarcane that was harvested, actually. Very nice. Now let's look over here. We do the same thing. You can see there's a few pieces of sugarcane that flew out everywhere. Sometimes it even goes flying out here or on the top or the roof or whatever, and it's just really not very good. You can see there's sugarcane stuck there and back there. And it's not very great. Look, there's some that's not stuck yet. We'll give it a second to keep winding its way down. As you can see, this is already a lot more buggier than this one's very smooth movements. It's given about the same amount of time the other one has. This has only picked up half as many sugarcane. Now the next improvement I'm going to show you is how the water works. Now normally when people do a sugarcane farm, they put the water that whisks the sugarcane away at the same level as the block of dirt or sand that the sugarcane's on. And this makes a lot of sense because sugarcane requires water to be at that level. But the problem is that means sugarcane has to land squarely in the water to be moved away. And if it lands even slightly near the edge, if it lands like on a crack right here, like I'm moving on, it'll just stay up here and not be moved, and it'll never be harvested. So one thing I've done is I've hidden the water that irrigates the sugarcane on this back side here, and then I've put the water actually at the same height as sugarcane, which, let me show you, allows for you to have sugarcane that doesn't fall right on, still moves. So see, if I could throw it like right here on the cracks. That one didn't land on the crack. I can throw it like here on the cracks. It can not have to be right on, and it still sort of moves along. Especially with item stacking. Sometimes it'll grab them and move them along. But that allows it to move stuff that's not right in the trench to the end. And on top of that, you also need this area right here in front at the end of your line to be open. You can't have a block here, or else they'll just, you know, roll the way down and just stand up right there. You need water to come all the way around the edges, which is where these trenches work really good as well. And that's how I was able to get all 32 pieces to fall in there in like no time flat. Well, over here, look at this. Look at this mess over here. They're still like trying to get in. It still hasn't worked, right? So those are the two key differences between just a regular sugarcane farm and what I like to use. I bet a lot of people probably use it, but that's what makes the sugarcane itself harvest efficiently. And then you add these T flip-flop bud switches and hoppers, and the whole process will work right fine by itself. And you can even stack these modules and just make it bigger and bigger if you really, really want that much sugarcane all the time. You can just keep adding it in. You only need the one T flip-flop bud switch and just wire everything else into it. Just make sure that these two side piston columns both activate at the same time, or else you can have sugarcane flying off to the sides and dropping, you know, here where you don't want them. Which is why all these have repeaters that aren't always quite necessary, just to make sure that the timing is just right. Alright, so now I've shown you that. I'm going to show you some basics about T flip-flops and bud switches so you can wrap your head around how this whole concept works. So over here I have two very basic mechanisms for how we receive inputs for redstone. A button and a lever. So the button is like your regular kind of circuit. It activates, it flicks power on and then back off. On, then back off. So one activation does two actions. Activated, on, off. A lever, you activate, turns off, activate again, you turn on. So it takes two interactions to do two things. That's like a T flip-flop. It's just pretty much means it's triggered. Triggers on, triggers off, or toggles on, toggles off. Well, this one's just, it blinks. So that's what a T flip-flop does. A bud switch is a block update detector. What a block update detector does, it just detects if a block nearby this piston has been updated. The biggest form of block update is pretty much the placement of a block, as you can see. You know, growing, objects growing into it also works. There's lots of different things to do. You could go look it up. But basically those are the big things that it does. It detects when something happens, and then it sends out a pulse. This block update switch is like our button. See, it turns on then off and just resets back to normal. The problem with this for using in here is that if the sugarcane grows here, sugarcane grows up to that height, Then that's one switch, right? Then it's broken in place by that. Then is another one, which then does it again, does it again, does it again, does it again, and never stops. We don't want that. Over here, we have, actually that's my super compact one. Here we have a Bud T flip-flop. As you can see, it's got a fairly bigger footprint. It's a bit taller and everything. But this requires 2 interactions to go through the full cycle. See, 1, 2 to reset. Works really good with Sugarcane because then Sugarcane grows, activates the switch to push them and destroy them, push the destroying switch goes, and it's set back to normal as soon as that moves away. But you can just do that over and over and over again. So wheat grows, block destroys. Wheat grows, Sugarcane grows, block destroys. Sugarcane grows, block destroys. Now if you are fancy and you have some glowstone laying around, here is a much smaller version I've designed that just uses the properties of glowstone being able to have redstone on top of them, but still being transparent enough that signals of redstone going up can go through the glowstone. So it makes it super compact. It makes it so you can just plug one of those in the back here, and look, it's smaller already. Makes it a lot easier. So that's what a T flip-flop bud switch does. So guys, if you like the Sugarcane farm, there should be a link in the description to download it. I'll show you all of these, between just basic normal modules to putting them together to have multiple modules, even have my fancy looking one. For the people who are in the cheap versus the people who have the glowstone, different versions of some T flip-flop bud switches, and you can make and design your own. It has some really great advantages in that it's fully automatic. You set it up, you never have to touch it again. It's extremely low on lag since there is no running circuitry until it harvests. There's no clocks, there's nothing. It's just suspended animation waiting for it to harvest. If you really want, you could even set up one of these T flip-flop bud switches on every module so that it's even less laggy. There's even less items moving around. And you probably don't even need this many since it'll just keep working in the background. You know, it might harvest every 15 minutes. You play for a couple hours, you'll come over, you look and you'll be like, holy schnozzles, there's like 18 stacks of Sugarcane. And you're like, what am I going to use it all for? But I hope you guys liked it. If you want like a tutorial on how to actually make it, I might be willing to do that if there's enough people who would like to see that instead of just exploring it for themselves. Just give me a comment, tell me what you guys like. And tell me what you want to see. I'm very open to showing off stuff. I have a whole bunch of stuff I've sort of made in my world that's just might be hard for me to explain because it's sort of a mess when you're designing it. So it'd be a bit of work to try to get it going, but I can show you guys some of that stuff too. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your Minecraft.